Ralph here. Welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this fabulous Friday here in Connecticut. Life's good, guys. Life's good. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Arban and Double C'S. That's been my credo for much of my life. It's not going to change. I've talked about this before, but it has been a while. So let me explain what goes into my way of thinking for this, and we'll take it from there. I played quite a bit. So we'll see if I've got anything left, and then we'll talk about Arban and Double C'S. Life's good. I'm out of juice. Have it upstairs. I will replenish soon. I had a great workout this morning and a great practice. Life's good. Anyway, Arban and Double C'S. Okay? I have 3 instances in my life that made an unbelievable impact on the trumpet player I am, the musician I am, and all this sort of stuff. And all 3 of them involved the Arban. Okay? The first one, 18 years old, Vacchiano, Salamone, take out your Arban book. Now, my Arban book at that point was my father's old Arban book. He was a trumpet player as well. The thing had to have been, I don't know how many years old. I'm not sure if he bought it used or whatever. But it was even not together. There wasn't a cover. Every single page was yellow and stained and all this sort of stuff. Salamone, get another one. We're going to be using this a lot. By that time, he had gone to the Arban characteristic study number 1. And I said, so why are we going to be using this so much? Salamone. He pointed to characteristic study number 1. If you can play that, you can play anything. I said, really? Now, again, his scope is the classical literature and mainly the orchestral literature. Okay? Salamone. Look at that. If you can play that, can you play Petrushka? If you can play that, can you play Mahler? Turn the page. And off we went. He says, but Salamone, we're going to do it a different way. You're going to learn this in every key. Then, a year and a half later, Salamone, get the Arban book for trombone in bass clef. And we went through the entire Arban book, reading it in bass clef. Now, by that time, all of us had pretty much have the dang thing memorized, right? So we almost weren't even reading bass clef. But needless to say, bass clef is trumpet in D. Okay? Bass clef, if you have a D trumpet in your hand and you're going to play trumpet in E, just transpose up a step. You see? I mean, that was it. Now, back to what we had basically the whole thing memorized. That was basically his point. So basically, in effect, we are just looking at patterns and filling in the key. Vacchiano students could sight read anything. After that mental gymnastics, if you get the feel, you put me down in front of a jazz thing and I don't get the feel, but But the point is, after that, there is nothing you can't play. Okay? Second of all, That was the first one. Second one, my first lesson with Jerry. We opened up to the characteristic study. Bacchiano says, you play this, you can play anything. He says, Jerry says, if you can play it up an octave, you can be a superstar. And I was off, man. I was off. There was one other one. Maurice Andre, several years after I had my first lesson with Bacchiano and Jerry. Maurice Andre was playing at Carnegie Hall, and he invited Jerry up to come in and listen to his rehearsal. Brought me with him. Okay? And basically the rehearsal was done. Andre just pretty much had the hall to himself, and he was practicing. And all he did, I thought I've told you before, all he did was lament. Mon Dieu, my chops, I don't have a chance to play the big trumpet. He says, with my schedule, he says, all I have to do, all I can basically do is warm up on the pick and go play the concert. Now, it worked out all right for him. Right? It worked out all right for him. But what he was dying to do, and he did all through the Paris Conservatory, 3 to 5 hours a day on the characteristic studies. Just go through, get to 14, go back to the beginning, do it again. Now, he was not doing it on the B-flat trumpet in the traditional French tradition. I'm not sure what they're doing now, but back then, everything was on the C trumpet. So, I'm thinking to myself, Bacchiano, Jerry, and Maurice Andre. It works for me. And that is what I did primarily ever since. That was my routine, if you will. And I did other things. I did Clark, and Bacchiano loved the Sox book, just from the mental gymnastics. And, of course, excerpts until I wanted to puke. Pictures, Mahler Fifth, Petrushka, until, couldn't stand it anymore. But that was life. But, guys, that is the recipe for success if you want it. Now, here's the deal. You don't have to do it that way. I've told you, every single one of my books, none of the books has one note of music to it. Now, I love the classical literature, and I just took to the Arban like bees to honey. John Faddis couldn't be bothered with the Arban book. He went right to Dizzy Gillespie solos. And by the time he was 18, when I was first really introduced to the Arban book, he had 100 Dizzy Gillespie solos, plus double C's for days. And the rest is history. But the point is, he did it the same way. He just used different music. Okay? Now, you don't think you can put an Arban characteristic study in front of Faddis and he can play it? You think? Oh, there's one more. There's one more. And I didn't know this till later. But here's another one. You know who did Arban characteristics incessantly? Up an octave? Adolf Scheerbaum. Now think of those 4 trumpet players that we talked about. Bacchiano, Maurice, Scheerbaum, and Jerry. What am I going to say? No? Right? What is left? Now, again, if classical is not your way to go, God, that would be torture. And I'm not suggesting that. But the point is, and there's another thing about the characteristic studies, okay? You don't worry about going from the beginning to the end without stopping. Name one piece in any of the literature that you need that type of endurance. You don't need it. It's just a complete waste to try to do that, okay? What you do need is to be able to play double C's the first thing in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning the next morning. That's what you have to do. Stop, spit buzz, and reset. Use all my principles for going after those 3 to 5 hours a day on the Arban if you choose to do that. I don't care if it's one measure, guys. And another thing, you know what I'm going to say? You know what I'm going to say? The beauty of the Arban book, it's all in our happy zone. It's all in our happy zone. Unless, of course, you take it up and out there. Recipe for success. Arban and Double C'S. Guys, get a 1SB mouthpiece. I can't guarantee that on a Bach mouthpiece. You do 3 to 5 hours of anything on a Bach mouthpiece, you're going to kill yourself. It's not going to work. Get the 1SB mouthpiece, get an Arban book, and go to work. That is the recipe for success. Eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Not the fake stuff, true power. Love you all.